Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simply Cards by Kathi. I'm Kathi Andis, and today is Thursday, April the 18th, 2024. And I am excited to be here with you today. I'm gonna show you some magic that you can do with masks. I love masks. I love the layering mask especially. And I am so very happy that Stampin' Up! Has made us some to be able to use. So I want to show you how to use that, but we're going to double mask for this card. And this is a card I actually made to go into a blog hop this week, but because we had so much going on with out of town company and the memorial service, I never got it in there. So I thought this would be perfect to share with you. So I hope you're having a good week. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy you found me. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you're from. And if you are with me live or you catch me on the replay, thank you so much for your support and joining me. So I am going to flip this camera down and we're going to get started. Okay, so today I am using the Enduring Beauty Bundle. We're going to use this large stamp here, and we are going to color it with blending brushes and the masks, not with our Stampin' Blends. And we're also going to die cut that out. Now, these are the dies that coordinate with this a stamp set, and we're going to be using this large one. So I'm just going to pull it out and set it off to the side. Now, the other thing that I'm using, or let me show you, and you'll see these quickly enough, the Enduring Beauty comes, you can order separately the masks, and there are 5 of them that will completely color in that stamped image, and that's what we're going to use today. But I'm also using one of my favorites that's retiring at the end of the month, the Foursquare Decorative Masks. I love these masks. I think masks do so much for a background. And there are 4 of them. It's just beautiful squares, and they fit within one another that you can layer them as well and add a little bit of a design. But I chose to use the diamond one today. And we are going to blend 3 colors using this mask. So let me get all of this out of our way, and we're going to get started. Now, the first thing I want to do is we're going to work on our blending, not even the card base. So when I am blending, I use a sticky mat. And I'm going to bring mine in. And I just kind of put a little pad on here that isn't going to move. And I lay this down on here. Now I'm going to put my paper on here, and I just going to go ahead and place it on. And then I'm going to put my stencil down. This is what works best for me. Now, I have cut my basic white piece larger than I'm going to need, and I would recommend that that's something you do. Mine is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. In the end, I'm going to trim it down to 3 3/4 by 5 because it's going to get layered on another color cardstock. Hi, Renee. Thank you for joining me. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down. This does not have a right or wrong side. And I try to kind of get it a little bit so that if I have a part of a diamond at the top, I have a part at the bottom. And I'm going to trim it anyway, so doesn't really much matter. Now, I use some washi tape or sticky tape, and I do hold it down, and then I'll be holding it down with my hand. And this is pretty sturdy for me now. It doesn't slide. So for my background, I've chosen to use Pool Party, Coastal Cabana, and Lost Lagoon. 3 colors that are very close together on the color wheel. And I'm also going to use my blending brushes. Now, often I will use a blending brush. I don't have one for every color, but I use them for the family. So if I'm working with blues, I'll use the same one, unless I'm using something a little bit outrageous like Night of Navy. I would not use the same one. And I wash my blending brushes, and I'll show you that in a little bit, what they look like after they're washed. They wash up beautiful, and then you're able to use them again. So I am starting off with Pool Party, and I'm going to ink up my brush. Now I am going to bring in a piece of copy paper, and I just want to be able to move this over, and I want to have it off to the side. Now, I did use this earlier this week, and if you keep rubbing, you pretty much clean it off. So let's take our Pool Party, and I'm going to give it a good rub here. And then I'm just going to dab off and start blending lightly. Now, I don't want to cover that paper up, but I am going to start off. And I'm pretty light-handed until I see what I get. And then I go back and add. I can go back and add. I can't take it away. So dab it a little bit, and I'm just going to go over here and add a little bit. So I'm going to add this color in various places and blend these on top of one another. So I'm going to go ahead here and add a little bit in this corner. And then we're going to switch to another color. Let me know if you've done blending, some blending on your, if you use the masks and what you think of them. I just love them. Now we're going to go to our Coastal Cabana. And I am going to get it open eventually. And I'm going to wipe this off. And then I'm just going to ink up again and give it a little tap, and then start blending over here. And let's come on down here for a little bit. And I'm just looking to get some color. And we may even come in with a fourth, but usually I stick with 3. And add a little bit here. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's take this off. And now I'm going to come in with my Lost Lagoon. Now at the end, I do have another card to show you that'll be very similar to this one, but a little bit of difference in colors. So my Lost Lagoon is my darkest. So I'm going to come in with that, and I'm going to definitely make sure I tap off. Okay, and then I start swirling. Now, if you are using a mat like this, don't have to worry. This mat cleans up beautiful. I just spray mine down with mat cleaner or my stamp cleaner or water. I wipe it down with water, and I'm ready to go for the next time. So I find it easiest when I'm using my blending brushes to use my finger to steady it. And then, okay, let's see how that is. I think I'm going to come back in with my Pool Party and just blend over some of the darker colors. So I'm going to make sure this is clean. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the Pool Party. So, and I'm just going over my Lost Lagoon and Coastal Cabana to kind of blend those colors in. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's remove that. And I'm going to take off my washi tape. Now, these stencils, all you have to do is wipe them down with your sponge, your stamping sponge or purple sponge, or just spray them down with your stamp cleaner and wipe them with, I use a microfiber cloth. So to get this off, I peel the back away, And then I have nothing, it does not bend. But look at the variety in that color. And we're going to end up cutting that down. I'm going to set this off to the side and we're going to get rid of these. Now I'm going to turn this over because I am going to, well, actually I'm going to get rid of it. So we're going to go back to putting this down. And now I'm ready to do my flower. So let's grab our piece of basic white cardstock, which is right here behind me. And again, I'm going to lay this down. Now, before I even do that, I need to stamp. So let's get this out of the way. I'm going to use my Sweet Petunia Misty stamp. Now, this is just like the Stamparatus was. And the stamp that I'm using is a photopolymer stamp. So I am going to leave my foam mat in here. And I'm going to tuck this down right in the bottom and add my magnet across the top. Now, I do want to bring in my stamp. And I'm going to position it where I would like it on the paper. And it's upside down. And I want to make sure I leave enough room all the way around to do that die cut. Then I'm simply going to flip it over and pick it up. Now, I know it's going to pick up the paper, but I also know that I've had that paper tucked in the corner, which is where it's going to stay. And I'm using my Misty because I want to be able to get really some dark lines, very distinctive lines for this stamp. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to lightly tuck a stamp pad in there and I'm going to ink this up really well. Now I'm probably going to have to stamp this 2 or 3 times because I doubt I'm going to get the color I want or the depth of black that I want with just one stamping, but you never know. So let's go ahead and I'm going to lay this down and just give it a good press. I am going to use I was going to use my Chucky tool, but I'm not quite sure where it is. So I'm just going to use my palm of my hand and give it a good press. Okay, now let's lift that up. Now, one of the things I find helps me when I lift it up is if I hold it down with my bone folder. And actually, that looks pretty good, but I'm going to go over it one more time because there's just a few areas I would like to see a little bit darker. So I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend, and I hope you have beautiful weather and that you're able to enjoy and have some time with family and friends. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go back down. I'm going to give it a good press. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and pick up, and I'm going to hold that down, and that looks great. All right, so let's move this out of the way, and now we're going to bring in my mat that will hold my cardstock down. So with this, I'm going to lay down and I am going to tape this down and you're going to see why in just a minute. All right, now we're ready to start with our masks. And our masks are numbered. These are the Enduring Beauty masks. You have 5 of them and each one of them is numbered. So I'm going to start with number 1. Now, one of the, each one has a notch, if you can see that. And I even tried to color the number 1 in so you could see it. But that notch is where you will line up each of the masks in succession. So I'm going to show you how we do it. Once you find where your, and it might take you a little bit, once you find where your masks go, And I did this, and let's see where we're going to go. I think this one's going to go right here. Not quite. Let's turn it around. And I did this earlier this week, and I had the same thing, just kind of fussing, getting it to where I need to be. And you can mark your, let's see where this is going to go. This should go right here, but it doesn't. Nope. Let's see. All right, I'm not quite sure. So, and I've done this several times, and you would think by now I would know exactly where to lay them down. But I actually, there we go. Okay, so here's where our masks go, and you want to line them up so that the leaves are covered. So it may take just a little bit on this first one. All you want to be able to color or see are the flowers for this one. Now, remember I said that there was a notch here to line up. Well, we're going to pick up this, and I'm going to bring this paper in, and I'm going to show you what I do to make sure I get that notch in the same position each time. If you do, your masks are going to line up beautifully. So I'm simply going to take a pencil, and I'm going to mark right down here where this notch is. I'm just going to make the V just like you see. And I know with each one then to line that up right there. So let's go ahead, and I am going to tape this down here also. And we're going to start with our blending. Now I'm going to start with Lemon Lolly. I love that color, and I also think it's just so light and so pretty. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to come over here and just dab off a little bit, and then I'm going to still hold down my masks, and this one slipped just a little bit. So as you're kind of fussing with it, you want to make sure that you have it in place before you get started. And I'm right there. All right, so I'm just going to start coloring. Now I want my base color kind of light. I didn't want it real bright because as I layer it more, I'm going to add more color to it. So I'm just working in circles. I'm not pressing hard at all. If you want some areas hard, a little bit darker, you can go back over it. But again, remember, start light and go back and add, because you can put more down, but you can't take it off. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. I like that light color. So we're done with our Lemon Lolly. And now I'm going to come in with Daffodil Delight. And we're going to go to the next mask. So this is going to come off. I'm not worried about where I'm going to put my mask because I'm going to line it up there. And let's come in with number 2. Now number 2, and my mask is going to go down here. There we go. You see I lined up my little V right here, if you can see it. And it went right around my leaves. So I'm in pretty good shape here. Just make sure that I have them fine-tuned. And then we're ready to start our leaves. So the masks don't necessarily do all of the, in order, all of the flower and then go to the leaves. Now for my leaves, I chose to use shaded spruce. So I'm going to bring that one in here. And we're going to do the leaves kind of light. And I have a smaller blending brush for that because the leaves are smaller and I just thought it was a little bit easier to maneuver. So I'm going to take off a lot of that ink and I'm going to come in light. Now, the reason I chose the shaded spruce is it has a little bit of a blue to it, and I used blues for my background, so I thought it would go really well with the yellows and also with the blues for our background. So let's add a little bit here. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more and tap off. And the reason I'm tapping off is I don't want to get any of those dark areas on my image. If I were not to tap off and would just start blending, you would see some of those dark images on my stamped image, and I don't, or those dark marks on my stamped image, and I don't want that. All right, I think I'm good with the leaves, and we're gonna add to that in a little bit. But look how pretty that is so far. All right, Renee says she hasn't used masks. Oh, Renee, if you use them, you will love them. So I'm going to go ahead, line up my little notch that I put down. And let's get this right on the flowers. Now this is going to add some depth to these flowers, some darker shadows or darker shading to them. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to make sure I moved my bottom so my notch isn't right on top of it, but you can see they're lined up. The points are lined up and I have my flowers completely covered. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. And this time we're going to come in with Daffodil Delight. Now I'm going to use the same blending brush that I used for my Lemon Lolly and just go ahead, tap off, and now we're going to add some color. Now this is going to be darker. I want this to be more noticeable. And just going to go ahead and add our accents. Okay. You can always peel it back and see if you like the color that you got. And you can even add a little more. I'm going to go in and add a little bit more just to get a little bit more accent here. And I'm really blending very easily. So let's take a look at this. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So you can see how it's developing. Now with number 4, we have some more leaves, and they are the emphasis points to those leaves. So you're going to get some dark blending in here, and I'm going to stick with the exact same color. I'm going to go with the shaded spruce, and I'm just working to finesse where these masks are going, because you want to keep it within your stamped image. And that all looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and I'm going to tape that back down and move this out of the way and come back in with my shaded spruce. Okay, now this I'm going to just tap off, but I want this to be darker. So I'm going to go ahead and start blending off to the side of the stencil, and these stencils wash up beautifully. Pick up a little more, tap, start off on the stencil, and just keep blending. And you can see even the little stems to the flowers are there so that you can get those blended in green. And wait till you see this when we take this off. Now I'm going to go over just a little bit more. I really want that, the emphasis points to be darker. Okay, let's peel back and see if that's what we like. And I'm happy with that. That's exactly what I was looking to get. So now our last stencil are the centers. And I thought I would do something just a little bit different with this one. Let's make sure we get these where they go. Nope. Actually, let's flip this back over and bring this back in. So there we are. All right. So I'm lining that up right there. And you can see I'm right in the center of each of the flowers. Now, one of the things I want to do with this, and I want to bring this over just a little bit. Okay. I want to add a little bit of color to this, and I'll tell you where I got this idea. When I got married, my roses were yellow with like a coral or a pinky coral color in the center. So I wanted to recreate those. So I'm going to try some Flirty Flamingo just for the center, but I'm going to do it very, very lightly. And we're just going to see how it turns out. I'm not going to do it real dark. I just want it to be like a blush. And we'll see how it looks. Now on the second card I'm going to show you, I kind of changed things up a little bit, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes when we're done here. So just a little bit more here in the centers, and I think we're good. All right, let's see what it looks like. Oh, I like that. All right, so we're done with all of our blending and masking. So let me take this off and show it to you. And I'm going to die cut it out real quickly, and we're going to put our card together. So again, I'm just going to peel this from the back. I'm pulling from the back of this, and we're going to trim. All right, so this is the die for this, and I'm just going to place this around, and I'm going to anchor it with a little piece of washi tape. And I'm just going to turn around behind me and die cut this out. I will be right back. All right, so we have our die cut. And let me hold that up for you. Isn't that pretty? And you can see, hopefully you can see just that little bit of Flirty Flamingo that kind of kisses the center of the flower. All right, so let's go back and grab our first stencil. This stencil we're going to cut down to 3 3/4 by 5. I make it bigger in case there's any areas I don't want that I can trim it off or trim from both sides. I actually am happy with the whole thing. So I'm just gonna come on over here and cut this to 3 3/4. And we're gonna save this because we're gonna use it. And the 5, I'm gonna cut off both ends at 1/8. So I'm gonna take an 1/8 off this end and 1/8 off of this one, which will get me to the 5. And just because I had just a small area where I didn't completely cover it. And here's our layer. So let's put our card together. So I chose the Lemon Lolly for my card base. And this is 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this is going to be a landscape card. So we're going to go ahead and I burnished that, and I thought I really wanted this to pop. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to layer this right on top of basic black. So I thought the black popped with both the blues and the yellow and just made the card stand out. So let's put that on here. Now I'm just centering this. Black is 4 by 5 1/4, and we cut our stenciled layer to 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm going to get it pretty even all the way around. Let's slide that over. Lift that up just a little bit. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, and we're going to go ahead and adhere this to our card base. Now, you don't necessarily have to have the masks to do masking. You can make your own, actually. You can use die cuts. You can use the negative portion from the die cuts and fit those in. So use those to do your image, your blending. So there's that. Now we're ready to add our floral image. And I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to turn this one, I think like that. More like that. And we're going to pop this up with dimensionals. So let me grab those. They're right here. And because I want to give it a little bit of dimension. So I think that looks so pretty on that blended background. But I'll be anxious to see what you think. And we're just going to go ahead. Now, this is a pretty big image, so I am going to add a lot of dimensionals because I want this to, I don't want it to look like it's flattened at all. So I'm going to do this. All right, and I'm going to add 1 or 2 in the center. And I'm going to add 1 over here on the end, just kind of right there. And we're going to go ahead and take these off and then pop this on. Now I have gone ahead and stamped my greeting. And I did not use a greeting or a sentiment from the stamp set. I used one from Wild Ferns, and I also used one from Lifetime of Love bundle. And this card, I needed a card for a bridal shower this weekend, and I thought this would make a beautiful card. So let's go ahead, and we are going to pop that right there. And now I'm going to bring in my greeting. So my greeting is "Here's to New Beginnings." I thought that was perfect for a shower. And I'm going to layer it right along the flower. So we're going to have Stampin' Dimensionals only on the right side, because if I would put it completely across, it would lay kind of wonky. So I had put them completely across, and I just took 2 of them off, and we're going to go ahead and take these off. Now you could use a glue dot, you can use a dab of glue. I'm just, since I have my glue here, going to add a dab of glue. And I want to make sure that my dimensionals are off that image. And I'm going to put it right there. Maybe up just a bit. Okay. So here's to New Beginnings, and just give that a press so it sticks down. Now for the inside, I already stamped my greeting. I'm using a basic white layer, and I'm going to layer it on basic black. So the black is 4 by 5 1/4. And again, the white is 3 3/4 by 5. And the greeting I chose was wishing you a lifetime of love and happiness. And this is from the Lifetime of Love bundle that was in the January to April mini catalog. And that is actually carrying over. It'll be in the online exclusives. So let's add this. And bring that down just a little bit. All right. Now this is cut to 5 inches, and this is cut a little bit larger. So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to trim this down just a little bit. I want this to be about 1/4 of an inch, or maybe 3/8 of an inch, a little bit less than 1/4. I'm just going to bring this in. And we're going to trim that down. And then I have this piece, remember, that we trimmed off from our mask. I'm going to trim this down to 5 inches. And I'm going to turn it around here. All right. And now we're just going to add this right along this black strip. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue here. Not a lot, and I could have done this right before I attached that layer to the card, or adhered that layer to the card. But I knew it measured correctly, so I wasn't too worried about it. So let's go ahead and add this. I'm going to add this right here, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of white peeking through. Oh, sticking to my fingers here. And slide it over so the ends match, and we're good. Now, to add a little bit of embellishments to this, I thought we would use some sparkle. So I decided to use the adhesive back sparkle gems. And let me bring these in. So we're going to use the ones that are black. And I'm going to go ahead and take a big one. And we're going to add that. Let's add one right here. Let's take another one, large one, and let's add that over here. And then I'm going to take a small one, and I'm going to put that, I think, right up here in that small area. Okay, so here is our double masked card. We've used the two different masks to a background and give it a little bit of dimension and some depth. And then on our inside, we've carried that through. Let me bring in the other card. Now with this card, I did this one a little different. I did it a little darker. For that one mask, when I laid down the second color, a Daffodil Delight, here I used Calypso Coral to try to give it a different look. So two cards, same set, a little bit different look. Let me bring it back to me. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you, Renee. The masks can really add a lot to your cards, and there's just so much you can do with them. As time goes on, we're going to do a little bit more with masking. You can use painter's tape. You can use masking tape. You can use your die cuts. Both your negative, and if you have intricate dies, you can use the actual die cut. So much you can do with them. So thank you, Lynn. I'm glad you liked it. So I will have a link right down below in the video after 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, where you can download the PDF that will have not only the measurements and supplies, but I will have instructions for it. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I had fun being with you an extra day this week if you joined us last night for mystery stamping. And I'll be back with you on Monday at 7 p.m. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you soon.